following audio transmission was received from an unknown radio source within the northeastern region of the continental United States. The radio signal has been deciphered from a secret broadcasting facility and is now being transmitted to your listening device. This is the Nostalgia Cafes.
And welcome back to the greatest memories of your childhood, the Nostalgia Cafe. We're so glad you found us. I am Dan Morrow.
I am the punk rock preschool teacher, Sam Seitels.
Ooh, and of course, always with us is the beautiful Karen Lynn.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. We are your... I'm all discombobulated here.
Not again.
And joining us, as I said, Miss Karen Lynn, we will be your guides on the journey of your lifetime. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and tell your friends about us. We are on all platforms. You can have your toast.
Cheers.
Ooh,
Cheers.
Three-way. Look at that.
Trifecta.
Ooh.
I'm not saying a word.
I know. And tell all your friends about us. We're on all platforms. You can go to our website, the official nostalgiacafe.com. We got a fun topic tonight. We're going to be talking punk rock and all kind of cool things with a guest that you brought in, Mr. Mike Spagnola.
Yeah.
Doctor.
Ooh.
Oh, I like that.
I believe he is a doctor of punk rock.
I like that. But first, we're gonna do a few little housekeeping things. We have some events coming up.
Bro.
There. I'm better now.
He's struggling.
I'm better. There's
Superb.
always that little growing pain when I make an adjustment here.
Yeah, we got new equipment, people.
Yeah, actually just a new mic stand to make things easier. Now they're nothing
much
but
easier,
in the
obviously.
way. I just wanted to clear up the space so they can have their drinks and we don't have to keep spilling things.
Yeah.
We got a fun show. We got the events. We got the 80s extravaganza. That's coming up. That'll be here on July 31st from 8 to 2 p.m. 2 a.m. 2 a.m.
It's 8 p.m. to 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
That's what the...
You've been here the entire time we've been advertising.
That's why
this.
I said, do I have to take a nap?
Do I need to remind you, dude, this Sunday, I am going to be on a show called Brain Injury Radio.
Oh, yes. So that explains it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have had... Did you know I've had...
Sam booked an interview when he was on vacation, so if that tells you anything. Yeah.
So find out. You can actually go to the website, our website. We have a direct link where you can purchase tickets, which is the official nostalgiacafe.com. If not, you can go to their site, 80s, the number 80s.eventbrite.com. Actually, no, it's 80sac.eventbrite.com.
I'll just agree with whatever
keep
you
nodding
say,
and
dude.
stuff. Okay, a little affiliate shout out. Just want to remind everybody the EVEL KNIEVEL stunt cycle is back. EVEL KNIEVEL, the man, the myth, the legend, is back with this nostalgic gem. The original 1970s version of the super powerful wind-up gear stunt bike is back. Put your phones down and go outside. Have some serious fun. This is the perfect gift for the man who grew up in the 70s and now has everything. Ladies, if you're trying to find that odd gift, what do I give this guy? It's his birthday, or it's our anniversary, or it's Christmas. What do I give this guy? He's got everything. The minute he opens this box and sees the EVEL KNIEVEL stunt cycle,
He'll be able to play with
he's
his
4 years
kids.
old again.
say.
Mike, did you ever have?
I had an EVEL KNIEVEL stunt cycle.
Did you really?
Yep, I'm that old.
Did you really?
See, look.
Mike,
Yeah,
That
you should have
looks very
seen.
familiar. Yes.
look at the smile on the man's
Yes.
face.
Even the mailman delivering that was excited.
Oh, he was floored.
That's amazing.
He was floored. Just move that for a second.
We tried doing our first
Do you
stunt.
remember this sound, Mike?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta put him on.
And
I gotta put him on the.
And mine always went about 5 feet and fell over.
They've perfected some things. They actually gain traction. Listen to.
Oh,
Look at him smiling.
look at that sound. Yeah, the first stunt he did, he failed, actually.
Yeah,
we
he
were
went
trying to
under.
get him off a
Oh,
ramp. Oh, there
lost
goes his
his
helmet.
helmet.
Yeah.
Safety first, guys. And he ended up going under the car,
And we couldn't find
knocking
him.
the helmet off his head.
Now they've perfected this. CA Creations is a company in California that makes this thing. And where can you get one? Just go to our website, theofficialnostalgiacafe.com. Click on the affiliates page. You'll see EVEL KNIEVEL right there. Go purchase one. I'm going to put
Tell
him
him
right
Dan
there.
sent you.
And tell him Dan sent you. I highly recommend this toy. Hours of endless entertainment. Karen gets upset because I'm up here playing with myself.
Too easy. Too easy.
I didn't even have to say anything.
No. So once again, to get your Evil Knievel stunt cycle, go to our official nostalgiacafe.com webpage, click on the affiliates, and right there you can purchase the Evil Knievel thing.
See, that's what I wanted to, because Mike Spagnola, what you don't know is every week I bring something to the cafe
Yes.
that will bring
He brings us a
nostalgia.
present.
Yeah.
Yeah, gifts. A lot of them are on that shelf right now.
Most of
And
them
usually they're
from
for
candy
Dan.
cigarettes to wax lips to Slinkies and Viewmasters and everything. A little item in the news. We lost a superstar this week.
Oh, Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff.
Yeah. Did you guys ever watch him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you did. Shout out to Mr. Wonderful. He was a great heel when he was in WrestleMania 1 tagging with Piper.
Now, you're not saying that to insult him, those who don't know wrestling.
Good point. I'll slow it down. So obviously, most people know by now there's a script and there's usually a face and a heel in which
fake?
Go back to our WrestleMania episode, Karen. So the faces are generally the ones that you want to cheer for. I mean, that's not how it always works out, but that's the idea. And the heel is trying to get those boos.
Because the face will be the pretty boy, the good guy.
Mr. Wonderful is a good looking guy too. It depends, it depends on who you are. Whenever I wrestled, it was always like me times 10. So like whoever you are, Mr. Wonderful, he always showed like arrogance, right? Just kind of cocky. And then alongside Piper, who is just a million miles a minute. It went for a really good tag team against Hogan and Mr. T. And you know what's crazy? It's like all of Hogan's original WrestleMania opponents, they're all dead.
I saw that.
That is something strange. It is a sad commentary on what these guys put their bodies through.
They don't live long.
No.
No, a lot of them are lucky to make it past 50. I'm kind of glad I got out when I did.
Yeah.
But I have some friends in there, and they're doing okay. But God, the number of head traumas I got, like it's a good thing I got out of there. But you got guys like Warrior, Andre the Giant, Roddy Piper, Mr. Wonderful, King Kong Bundy, Macho Man Randy Savage, all original.
I think who lived up in Atco? Superfly Snuka.
Yeah, I actually met him.
Yeah.
I asked him before I did the splash off the top rope. I'm like, Jimmy, can I do the splash? He's like, oh yeah, brother. And I'm like, am I really talking to you right now?
So we lost him. It escapes me how old he was. It was
In his
70s.
70s.
He lived a good life.
Yeah, he lived a great life, right? Yeah. He was diagnosed with cancer about 8 or 9 years ago, so he struggled a little bit. Are you a wrestling fan, Mike?
I'm an 80s wrestling fan, yeah.
That's right, dude, because I remember a post you did. So he did a post about Luna Vachon giving him a lap dance.
A standing lap dance.
A standing lap dance. Luna Vachon was dude, would you consider her punk rock?
Kinda. I mean, she was more of a metal chick, I
Metal,
guess.
yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, she was the real deal. There was one time I was doing an independent show, and I'm just like, wow, Luna's here. Let's see what happens. She goes out to wrestle one of my friends. Suddenly, my friend runs to the back with a nose that is crooked and bloody and gushing, and he's screaming. And then Luna, her voice is just, she comes back, she goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she's crying with this voice, oh, somebody call an ambulance. She was so crazy, but at the same time, total sweetheart. Crazy sweetheart.
She was very nice to me.
Yeah. Yeah, so rest in peace, Mr. Wonderful. I mean, he lived a lot longer than the other guys.
Luna died young.
She sure did. That was shocking. Her and Bam Bam. I met Bam Bam like a week before he died.
I was amazed because when we did our wrestling special, I was trying to see who could I find as a guest to surprise you. One of them being, I left a message with Paul Orndorff.
Get out of here.
But I would start looking for these people and think, oh, this is a good idea. Let me get this person. Let me get this person. Dead.
Yeah.
Dead. Let me get Miss Elizabeth. She died. I couldn't believe how many people from wrestling had passed.
A lot of drugs in wrestling too.
There's a lot of drugs.
Unfortunately.
Painkillers is a big one, you know, because they are literally in pain all the time. And then, you know, they want to party, so they're also drinking with it. And
Right.
I don't think any of that matches well with steroids. I don't know.
And what
but,
they're
like,
doing with their bodies it just does catch up with you. And
It
the whole,
does. It's so crazy. Like I, of course, like every other kid, had the Superman thing where I'll never be like that. I'll be 20 forever. And like now, I'm like, holy crap! I feel that table and chair. Like
Yeah.
I feel it.
right.
What's my excuse? At least you have a good excuse.
Yeah.
Well,
the mosh pit, baby.
Let's welcome our guest to the show.
Yeah. So Mike Spagnola is someone that I interviewed. Can you tell?
You'll just have to come a little closer to the mic, or it just bring it to you a little bit more.
Could you?
Yeah, don't be afraid of it.
Don't be afraid. It won't bite.
Yeah. Can you tell the listeners what your profession is?
I run a punk rock shop in sleepy Smithville, New Jersey.
Sleepy Smithville.
Yeah. You go around Smithville, you see like some soaps.
Yeah.
You see
Chocolates.
some peanut butter.
Yeah, I was going to say the peanut butter store. The
Smithville
carousel.
is
It's lace doilies and candles.
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But then
Smithville
But then-
is a well-preserved little time machine of the
Historic.
1718 colonial.
yeah, it's
Era.
lovely. It's wonderful.
And then there's us.
And then yeah.
Little shops, little things. And
Yo, you can't miss his shop because when you walk past it, you can hear the
you can hear
shop.
us from the parking lot.
Yes, you can. And boy, oh boy, yo, I took my entire family to Underground about a month ago.
Yeah, let me just.
Yeah,
I see
you
that
got
out
a
of
hair.
the-
Yeah,
There you
there we
go.
go. It wasn't
that's
a
not one of my
floater. in it.
hairs.
No.
No,
Yeah.
it's not mine.
Yeah.
It looks gray. It might be mine.
Yeah.
We weren't that close.
Were you two hugging before?
I don't know. I would love to hug this man because his shop is seriously like, it's just so badass. It's horror and punk rock themed. And it's don't give an F about anything going on. We're going to do it my way. And because of that, I'm going to save it for later in the show, but I have some really funny dialogue
Oh, boy.
that has gone on between Mike and his customers over the years. So I hope you don't mind, dude.
No. You went through Facebook, I'm assuming. And
Yes,
Facebook.
and I did some screenshots of some of my favorites. But dude, you coming all this way, I really appreciate it. I usually give them gifts, which I will. But first, here's a little something for you.
Oh, look, you got a present too. Better not be a Cinnabon.
Oh, it's heavy.
I'm never going to let him live that down.
Yeah, I believe you'll appreciate this. And bada
It's
bing.
just my size.
This is so punk rock of Sam Seitel.
Yeah. This man only drinks
Pabst
Pabst
Blue.
Blue Ribbon.
And in a designer bag.
Yeah, I know.
Wrapped in toilet paper,
Yeah,
of
wrapped in
course.
toilet paper.
That'll come in handy.
Handy later. Yeah.
And for you
Thank you,
two,
Sam.
you're welcome. Actually, this gift was slightly influenced because I've been messaging with Mike. He might know what I'm talking about. This is slightly influenced by one of his interests, but I believe it is an interest of all of ours. So I put in some extra layers of TP
Yeah, I'm
on
just
that.
gonna
Oh, you're just
dig
going to
right
rip
into
it.
it.
Oh.
Oh.
We have Ash.
Do.
This is Ian. I always get the names mixed up because they were both in Lord of the Rings.
Ash was in Lord of the Rings?
No, yeah, he was Bilbo.
Didn't know that.
Holy.
Yeah, Ian Holm.
Okay.
Ian Holm. I get him and Ian McClellan mixed up. This is one of the greatest Ridley Scott's film. This is a film where in 1978, 79, when this came out, it was pure horror.
Yes.
Now, because all the gimmicks in it have been used and overkilled, it's an action film
No.
with some scary elements.
Oh, come on, dude.
Yeah, even Ridley Scott believes that. It just, if you're watching it by yourself at night and you've never seen anything like it, it will terrify you.
Yeah.
It would absolutely terrify you. But now it holds its own. It still
Have any of
holds
you
its own.
have any of you watched it recently? Like,
I
within the
love
last-
it.
Actually, I think it's on Netflix right now or HBO Max.
I will-
Actually, I just saw it.
Damn, I paid for it.
I
week
will
or so.
I will watch this film and then I will watch it with the commentary from Ridley Scott. It's one of my absolute favorite films, and it's like the John Carpenter films. They were made by people who knew how to set up a shot and really take advantage of.
I mean,
film.
everything looks so good.
It's beautiful. It's
I mean-
beautiful. A little trivia. He was at, I believe, Twickenham Studios to film some of these things. At the same time, The Who were filming segments of a live performance that would be used in a documentary about them called The Kids Are All Right. And they did 2 songs, Baba O'Reilly and Won't Get Fooled Again, that involved lasers. And really, Scott loved these lasers that they were using and used these very same, got permission to use those lasers for the scene when they're walking in all the pods, all those little
Yeah.
egg pods and stuff.
Yeah, when they first are starting to see some stuff.
Yeah, but this was a great character with such a great twist in the third act of the film.
So I don't know. Like, as I was rewatching it, I was thinking to myself, I remember thinking it was a great twist, but I was rewatching it and I was thinking, God, like, he seems so human.
It's even got the
Like,
toilet paper.
I feel like they just
It's even got the
threw-
roll of paper towels that he tried to suffocate Sigourney Weaver with.
Yeah. It's got his head once
head.
once it has that
Mhm.
white goopy stuff
Yeah.
coming
My
down
favorite
on
scene
it.
in the movie.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
Is it really your favorite scene?
The audio, what they did to his voice in that
Yeah,
scene
the
as he's
gurgling
talking.
is
Oh
great.
my
Yeah.
God. So
That's
robotic.
my favorite scene.
It is a good one. And man, can we talk about the alien? Because it looks, forget the CGI nowadays. Like, this looked better than so many of the CGIs you see nowadays.
That was Michael Peter Hall, I believe, the actor. He was also Predator.
No.
And H.R. Giger artwork was...
Yeah.
I disagree, sir, because I researched this and it turns out the dude who played Alien was like a 6'10" guy they met him at the bar, and I don't think he did any acting.
I believe it
afterwards.
was Michael Peter Hall.
From Alien Part 1.
Is this something that I'm going to have to look up?
Do we have a fact
should.
checker? Do we have a fact checker? I'm standing behind my claim.
And let's talk
Shit,
about
I
the
don't have my
artwork real
glasses
quick.
again.
We'll get into punk rock and as well, but you seem to be really into the horror stuff as well.
I'm a horror geek, no doubt about it.
Yeah. The
He likes the dirtiest.
artwork.
of the dirty.
the
how I
artwork
live.
was so haunting and scary, and it wasn't really for the film. This is just how this guy drew things. He would see things in his nightmares and draw it. And when Ridley Scott saw this stuff, he said this would be perfect for the film. And
There's a great punk rock tie-in to H.R. Giger, too. He did a poster for a Dead Kennedys album that actually got Jello Biafra arrested for peddling obscenity to minors.
Wait, what is the artwork?
It's called Penis Landscape.
All right.
And it was an insert in the Frankenchrist album, and it is absolutely filthy, and it is amazing.
Was an insert, no pun intended.
Yes.
Are we going to be able to put that up on the YouTube video?
No, you
I
will
probably
not.
will.
So
you
I'm
won't, actually, you
looking
won't.
up what? I'm
Who
looking
played
up
the alien in Alien?
Balaji
That's
Badejo.
crazy, man.
Okay.
But
Balaji
it almost
Balaji
brought down
Badejo.
All right.
Terror Tentacles Records. That lawsuit almost brought everybody down.
From one piece of artwork.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so Sam was right. It was not Michael Peter Hall. It
Yeah.
Balaji
Yeah, just some random dude from a bar
Badejo.
that was really tall and one and done. He didn't even act after that.
was crazy.
Yeah. But God, that movie's
Great
good.
film. Tom
God, that
Skerritt,
movie's
Sigourney
good.
Weaver, John Hurt.
Now that I rewatched it, I'm going back to all. Did you guys watch the one from a couple years ago? Was
I
it any
haven't
good?
seen that yet, no.
Oh, he died too.
Oh, dang. He was young
Sickle
there.
cell disease.
That sucks.
Oh my. Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Morbid.
no, Alien really held its own. That's just a classic film.
I don't feel like it will ever look bad. Like,
No,
as
God,
far
no.
as
No,
it's,
that'll be like Dracula. You'll be watching
No.
that 100 years from now.
Harry
Yeah.
Dean Stanton. It was just so many great character actors in that film.
yes. Yeah.
You know,
Was that Sigourney's? Was that her breakout?
That was. In fact, she thought she wouldn't get the part because it was a lock. They actually started filming, but she was allergic to the cat in the film. I think his
That
name was
cat-
Oscar
That cat drove me crazy.
or something, but she was allergic to the cat, and there was a
You want me to look
story.
up the cat?
She went home crying because she's thinking that they're gonna get rid of her. You know, not thinking. You know, thinking as an out of work actress who's never done a film, who
Right.
doesn't know how the
Right.
industry
Nobody's
works.
to go-
You know,
yeah.
not thinking that they'll just get rid of the cat.
Right. Yeah, they can replace the cat.
But that was her breakout film, and just the whole concept. You know, making a woman hero. You know, heroine.
Yes. And
Yeah.
you know what else I noticed, which you don't see too often in the horror movies? the black dude made it to the end. I mean, he died. Spoiler. But you know the stereotype. Like they usually kill the black guy like first, second. They made him a badass who made it pretty much to the end.
Character, yeah.
Yeah. So love that. Made the girl the final. You know, the one that survived. Very cool. Very very cool.
I think the scariest moment in the film is when they have the scanner and they see that it's going through the tunnels, and all you're hearing is just doop doop doop, and the guy's in the tunnel
wrong way,
and he's like, I don't see anything, and then you hear, you know, doot 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 doot. It's getting closer, doot, 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 doot. And it's like, I don't see it, and then he just turns around and you see that thing in the hallway.
You know, they when it came to the chest burster, the actors were not informed of what was going to happen, so they could get
really
more
scared.
Genuine. You know, they probably, I don't know how genuine, but you know.
Again, we're 20 minutes in. Haven't talked about punk rock.
We will. We're talking about. He is the master.
We mentioned the
of
dead
horror.
Kennedys momentarily. But yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
And penis landscape.
And
And penis landscape.
yeah. So whatever, Karen. God. So back to wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, you're a fan of punk rock. You're a fan of horror. How did this all begin for you? Because you were someone's baby once. Yeah.
Hard to believe. It started, I was like, I don't know, in high school, I guess. And I was like just farting around Crazy Eddie's, which is a record store up North Jersey.
His prices are insane.
That's right, exactly.
That's right.
Yes. And I was flipping through the cutout bin and I just saw a Richard Hell album and he looked really cool. And I saw a Ramones album and they looked really cool. And I brought them home and I never looked back. That was like 1979.
What were you listening to before that?
If I can just get your mic just a little, yeah, just don't be afraid to twist it. There you go.
good?
Perfect.
I was listening to like, I don't know, like Springsteen and
Yeah.
ugh.
So, my next question was going to be, do you still listen? But then, yeah.
No.
So you're strictly punk rock and that's it.
Mostly. Yeah, mostly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I'm listening to something else, it's probably weird. But yeah, mostly.
So it was the album art that won you over first?
Yeah, Richard Hell just looked cool. I was like, yeah, I was like, what, 17? I was like, I want to look like that guy. I don't want to be this little nerd anymore. I want to look like that guy. So I'm going to buy this and try to look like him.
So would you
Of course,
say
that failed miserably, but
So would you say that album specifically did it like make
yeah,
the impact?
Richard Hell's Blank Generation, absolutely.
You first put the needle on the vinyl. What happens?
And then Richard Hell is singing out of tune, like yelping like a dog practically. Robert Quine is literally playing out of tune. His guitar is completely out of tune purposely. And it's just like, wow, this is where I want to be.
Do you guys know that song?
No.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, it is. His voice is all over the place.
And Robert Quine's, his guitar is just ridiculous. It's completely out of tune.
Yeah, it is. And you loved that.
I love it, yeah.
Yeah. Is it actually the sound? Is it the attitude? Is it like just everything?
Attitude and energy, yeah. And the creativity behind it. It's not singing about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's everything. At the time, everything was so boring. Everything was like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Everything was all about just excess and stupidity. And punk rock was just like, I don't know, we're a mess.
We're a mess.
That spoke to me.
Where did that start, do you think?
I mean, it
whole
didn't,
thing
it
for
didn't
punk
spring
rock.
out of nowhere. I mean, you have like the 60s punk movement and sort of kind
Wait,
of.
what? A 60s punk movement?
Yeah, there's like the Seeds. The Sonics were really super punk rock in the 60s. 60s? Yeah, probably 60s.
Not under the name punk rock
no,
at the time.
But they were doing what?
Would they be considered the mods back then, or
No.
or was that a whole nother?
They were just playing dirty rock and roll. And then you got Iggy Pop coming up in the New York Dolls. So it didn't like spring out of nowhere. There's definitely an evolution. But I mean, punk rock came from that.
And when was the name coined?
I think it was Legs McNeil when they did Punk magazine. I know England takes credit for it, but they're full of shit.
There's always this back and forth, man, and I've noticed that
exactly.
since I was a kid when I was
Who
looking.
claims ownership of
Yeah,
punk
and
rock?
who was the first? Was it Sex Pistols or Ramones? It's
I mean, England had their first records out, although I don't even know if that's true. I think the Ramones had their record out before the Damned or the Sex Pistols did. But I mean, it started in New York in like 74, 75. They had England beat by 2 years. So they don't know what they're talking about.
and so you think it spawned from just tired, like
Yeah,
redundant, crappy rock and roll.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it didn't just come out of nowhere. It evolved from the Dolls and Iggy Pop and stuff like that. But it came out of that. It went from like underground dirty rock to glam, which was like the New York Dolls and then Iggy Pop. And then it just kind of went to the Ramones and Richard Hell and all that weird shit.
I watched a documentary recently, and tell me if this is true, that the mindset was like, you guys were kids, and the top of politics, the president, the first thing you remember is Nixon, like, and what's going on in Vietnam, and it's almost just like you think, I don't like this. This sucks. Like, F this.
I mean, honestly, if you're talking about the first wave, what we probably remember first was the Kennedy assassination. I mean, if you're born, I was probably a little young, but I remember Robert Kennedy being assassinated. You remember assassination politics.
Wow.
So it's kind of, you're growing up in that era.
Wow. See, I just missed it. Like, sorry, Karen, I got to talk about my age.
Yeah, he's younger than all of us.
I'm just a child. I'm a little child.
Nah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Every time he has to remind me.
You're gonna rub it in.
You're older.
I'm trying to learn from you two elders, okay? Oh, snap. Dude. Maybe you guys should talk. I feel like I'm going to get in trouble.
And he didn't bring me a Cinnabon. All right.
I can't win with this one.
I make him drink every week. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And share my blue cheese olives.
Yeah, they're delicious. I owe you. All right. Punk rock, though. So, is this music coming out of anger at first? Is it literally saying, F the system, this is who we are?
Yeah, it's coming out of boredom and anger. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it's like so different, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was. I mean, it's not so different anymore. Now it's kind of commonplace now, but it was completely different when it first happened. Yeah. And then after the first wave, you have hardcore, which was completely different again. It's a whole rebirth of punk rock.
The first wave, who is in the first wave?
First wave is Ramones and Damned and Sex Pistols and Richard Hell and X-Ray Specs and all those bands. They're generally a little slower, a little more melodic. And then you get to like late 70s, early 80s when everything is just sounds like a lawnmower and it's great.
They kind of scream.
No holds barred.
Yeah, and it's just
because
awesome.
the Ramones were very much, believe it or not, they were old school rock and roll.
They're like a pop band.
Their chords were simple. Their chords were basic rock chords. Their instruments were basic rock instruments.
But never solos though.
Yeah, but it was just.
I heard that they did
it was
one
just how they
time.
played them.
They'll throw a couple of, like I don't know, it's a cover. California Sun has a short little riff in it, something like that.
People flipped out about one solo.
Later on, maybe like mid 80s, Johnny started doing a solo here and there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just wasn't what they did.
But like also, I think.
And they were quite the characters.
Yeah.
They were quite the characters. It's been my goal to try to get PJ Souls on here.
Ooh.
One of the first movies I ever saw was Rock and Roll High School.
I'll be hanging out in the driveway if you ever do that.
Oh, feel free, you can come. And I had the album.
She is one of my all-time crushes.
And Rock and Roll High School was just this girl, Riff Randall. She came up with this song. It was her idea to try to get. I hadn't seen it in years. She tried to get the Ramones to her school, and all this is going on while there's this hierarchy that's saying we don't want this kind of music around. It was just
movie, it's a trash classic. Classic.
Yeah,
I love it.
And just with the Ramones in it, and it was such a good. I had the album, and the album cover was, I think it was the same artist who did the Animal House cover, because a lot of those covers that epitomized like 70s party films, and the cover was very much like that same artwork up there.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on there, but that's what made it fun, because you can look and find little perverted symbols and stuff, or like a Frank Zappa album, and there was all this kind of secret pictures in there.
Yeah.
And apparently PJ Souls was actually afraid of the Ramones.
Really?
Yeah, they made her nervous.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get her on. But that was my introduction to the Ramones and Rock and Roll High School. I just loved that song. And
That song.
They were on
that,
Sha-Na-Na. They wound up going on Sha-Na-Na to do a live.
What's
You don't even know. I was just going to say,
Sha-Na-Na.
he doesn't know what Sha-Na-Na is.
Back in the
Bowser.
60s, back in the 60s, at the height
Oh, no.
of
Sam.
brotherly love, the summer of love and hippies and stuff, this rock band came out of nowhere doing 1950s covers at the speed of 100 miles an hour.
Oh, I love that,
like
man.
rather than go 1, 2, 3 o'clock, they go 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5.
Yeah.
They sing at 100 miles an hour, dressed in 50s garb. If you ever saw the movie Grease, they were the house band.
Come on, man.
They were the band at the dance.
Okay, I will be rewatching soon.
Okay, so they played Woodstock. So you see, he had Hendrix, you had your Grateful Dead, and then you had Sha-Na-Na dressed, in their 50s garb.
And they had a real hokey variety show in the 70s too.
And that's where the Ramones were. That's the show that they were on. It was funny, and it just fit for some reason because the Ramones were just rock and roll in a way, and that's how I interpret it. I never took him as punk when I was younger
But
because
there was
I just
nothing like it though.
Yeah.
Nothing at all like the Ramones when the Ramones broke. There was people were looking at the Ramones. What the hell are you doing? Like, what? This is awful.
Do you mean like with everything when it comes to the look, the sound, the
everything, 'cause
lyrics?
they were,
Blue
let's face
jeans,
it,
t-shirt, leather
back in those
jacket,
days,
guitar.
Rock stars were good looking guys, or at least they tried to be. Ramones were just ugly. They were just ugly.
They're pretty ugly dudes.
As Dick Miller said in Rock and Roll High School, the Ramones are ugly people.
But they wore everything so well.
Yeah, a friend of mine got to run sound for them once, and they came to the show in a hearse.
They were super accessible. I mean, back in those days,
Yeah.
it wasn't a rock star thing. I used to run into Johnny Ramone regularly when I used to go to Chiller Theater, the HorrorCon.
Just run into
Run
him?
into me.
And that was Johnny, Dee Dee, Joey.
Joey, and Marky, but before Marky was drumming, it was Tommy. But yeah, I mean,
would you like shoot the shit with him? Like,
yeah, I mean, it was you want to bother him because everybody
Yeah.
was too cool for the room then. Everybody was they're like, hey Johnny, how you doing? It's like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, it was just him and Linda just walking down shopping,
yeah,
just hanging.
yeah. Did you go to shows? Did you go to Ramon
I
shows?
saw the Ramones like 40 times.
40 times. How were those shows? Seeing the Ramones
Amazing. They were
live?
great.
Yeah.
That was they got better as they got older.
But would it be that just Ramones, or it'd be a big bill of just all the...
I mean, usually at the Ritz, there would be the Ramones headlining and maybe 2 or 3 local New York area bands, usually. But they were great shows. They actually got better as they got older. They were better in like 1985 than they were in 1979.
But by then, were there new members? Like some left, some came in?
Tommy left early on, but the core 4 were there for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. And what was the show with the Ramones like? Was there a lot of like talk between songs?
Oh, they didn't say a word.
They just played.
It was just 1, 2, 3, 4 next song, and they barely, because Joe could barely speak.
Right.
He was, he wasn't a speaker, so they would just go from one song to the next.
Damn, that's why I couldn't find any interviews.
And matter of fact, when he does talk, his head is down like this, and he's just kind of mumbling. He's not a good talker. at all.
Yeah, that's why Rock and Roll High School is such a good historic document, because you actually see Joey Ramone he acts.
Yeah.
They offer him pizza. He's like,
Oh,
"Ooh,
he's
pizza."
in that movie.
The Ramones are in it. Yeah.
All right.
He's singing to PJ Souls while she's in a shower, and she's taking a shower, and he's singing to her. It's this dream sequence that she has. She puts on one of their songs.
Yeah.
I want you right out.
That scene actually gets cut out of a lot of TV edits because PJ smoking pot in that scene.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, forget
people,
her ass
it's
showing.
legal.
Yeah. But yeah, that gets cut out. If it's ever on, like when it used to be on TV, like late at night, they used to cut that scene out.
Okay, probably not anymore. I mean, it's legal.
No, I'm sure
and-
now it's not a big deal, but
Yeah.
that's the scene that used to get cut out all the time.
Yeah. Karen, is it nothing from, I mean, come on, Blitzkrieg Bop? Like, are you into that at all?
I know that. Yes, I know.
I mean, that was like the first punk
Yeah.
rock song that I heard that was like real punk rock, where I was like, I fucking like this. This is good. you know?
There's a lot of songs out there that, you won't know the title,
right.
but when you hear them,
Yeah.
it's just in the lexicon of pop culture. Now, I know this song, and mostly you hear these from sporting events now.
I know, in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of those from Ramones, like I Want to Be Sedated and
I want to
Big
be
hit. That's
sedated.
their big hit.
Yo, and
That was actually a radio hit in like 1979. Whatever
it was a radio hit.
Yeah, FM radio played that constantly
Did-
in 1979.
But a lot of that is because it has to you had to give props to those DJs back then who were allowed to do whatever they wanted to do.
It was a little
Yeah,
loose. It
now
was
I
a
don't
little more
think-
loose.
yeah.
FM radio was a little looser in the late 70s than it ever was before or since, probably.
The one that hit me in the face was Beat on the Brat
Yeah, it's a great one.
with the baseball bat. Like, it took me 4 times listening to it where I was like, is he really?
What is he really saying?
Is this a metaphor?
Yeah.
No.
But again, that's why they were different. 'Cause their lyrics were always absurd. They were always funny. They were usually, I don't know, just always really sick.
I feel like some of them were honest too, like the sniffing glue. I read they're like, yeah, it's because we really just went up and sniffed glue.
Yeah,
Was it rubber cement?
Airplane glue is the drug of choice.
Airplane.
Airplane glue. Didn't even know that was available.
Yeah.
You want me to-
I have some.
Oh,
Were you done that one?
yeah, keep it on the shelf. Well,
Make noise.
well,
I'm sorry
I'm
about
just gonna put this. That's fine. I'm just gonna put this.
I've done enough of that today. I'm okay.
yeah, look.
I'm okay.
He's not-
Oh, you literally do have airplane glue. Dan, we need to
really-
check
he
you into
really does,
rehab.
but, no, actually, he sat outside. He did.
You put the glue in the bag and you
Yeah.
huff it out of the bag.
No,
There we
see,
go.
You're
Don't
not-
try this at
Don't
home,
try
kids.
that at home. We're not promoting that. He just sat
I totally
outside.
am.
He sat. Mike is. We are not. We at the Nostalgia Cafe cannot promote that.
This is for the Bermuda Triangle documentary I'm doing. I got to.
Guys, I think I forgot something in the bathroom. I'm gonna go check it
Ah,
out.
see,
I don't have to do anything other than look for that thing I left
36,
in there.
36 minutes in, folks. We
just
really
wanna
are.
Find something.
I
Don't
know.
listen to
I know the
Karen.
gift I'm buying for Sam.
Apparently, Sam's prostate is the size of a basketball.
I would assume that the early wave of punk rock is the most endearing to you, or do you like?
It's probably endearing is probably hardcore because I was actually there. I was a little young for the first wave, but I mean, I was actually for the birth of hardcore. I was literally there, so it was kind of that's probably nearest and dearest.
Now, what would be described as hardcore?
Hardcore is more like Black Flag, Minor Threat, Dead Kennedys. It's super fast, super short songs. Almost never a solo.
Right.
But it's songs are usually a minute and a half, and it's just slam
Screen-
dancing,
they-
stage diving. It's a riot set to music.
And where obviously, when you mention punk rock, 2 or 3 bands really stand out in mainstream. Sex Pistols being one of them.
Right.
And
Yeah,
where,
they're most notorious.
where would they fall? Would that be because of their notoriety at the time, or would that be because of the film?
They got the press. I mean, they were all over the news in 76, 7, and then you had Sid allegedly murdering his girlfriend, put him back in the press again. So they were just, they were all over the press in the
It's the
in
story
late
of
70s.
Sid and Nancy.
Yeah. He's probably innocent, by the way.
And
Somebody I know
that's
is-
Sid Vicious and,
and Nancy Spungen.
Nancy Spungen.
There's a book coming out. Somebody I know is actually writing a book, and I don't know how it's going to come out, but he's got he just had access to police records that were opened up just recently, and I got a feeling it's going to come out that Sid was innocent.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't kill Nancy. Never thought he did. The murder was never really investigated. It was 2 junkies. They just figured Sid did it. Done and done. Police didn't give a shit.
Right. And now looking back now, they realized that they kind of dropped the ball on this.
Yeah,
or
there was people coming and going all night. There was money in the room.
Because they are thinking these are 2 junkies. They're not realizing their significance in the culture.
They didn't care.
Okay.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Don't forget. Where did you buy a shirt like that?
Amazon. Yeah.
Good old Amazon.
Dude, it's
The
weird.
truck went by today. Dan said they better not be stopping here.
Mike, I want to ask you some questions, but I don't want you to think less of me.
I couldn't pop.
No, we're learning, man.
I'm just kidding.
What I was saying to them,
That was a dig.
That's what age shit from before.
Exactly. Ting.
look, he's got the long flowing hair. He's got,
You're just jealous.
I am super jelly over here. So, okay, you're going to be mad at me, but we had an MTV episode last week. And one of the first music videos that influenced my life was Green Day's Longview.
Okay.
And they told me that this is punk rock. And
was
so
going to ask.
for many, many years, punk rock to me was a Green Day or a Blink 182.
Right.
This is how I'm finding things out. I go and I watch a movie called SLC Punk. Have you ever seen that?
I have not. Everybody's seen that except me, apparently. I have
I'm
not seen it.
shocked.
Yeah.
But it definitely exposed me to Ramones, Sex Pistols, and the history of punk and what true punk is.
Right.
So I've constantly had this. I still love Green Day, but I feel like it's something else.
It is something else, yeah.
Is it like punk pop?
That's what they call it.
Yeah, but there's pop punk that is still punk rock. I mean, there's a whole subgenre of pop punk that is punk rock, and that's what it. I mean, Ramones are punk pop.
You would consider that punk pop?
Yeah, of course.
I feel like there's so many subgenres, and to be honest, from what I know about punk rock philosophy, is that there's like so many contradictions within the community. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, people argue about what punk is and isn't all day, and nobody's 100%
I guess
right
that's
or
kind of
wrong.
like the hair band thing.
Well, it's a total.
we had the whole
It's an
hair band.
attitude. If anything, it's
Yeah,
an attitude. You can
definitely
go
it's
into
an
the '60s. You can go to London and in the early '60s with the mods and see you're making a mess.
Oh, dude, that's not me. I'm holding it down. I am pouring.
Can't take him anywhere.
Like a gentleman. Just here, baby.
Because
Just here.
I know
the
stories
underground.
from the Who. You Townsend would hang out with all these mods, and they were just always strung out on something, on these uppers, and just really adrenalized, and looked to Townsend to be a voice for them. If you listen to the early Who stuff, even the majority of the Who stuff, there was no love songs. It was either about music or one of the first standout songs for him was called "I Can't Explain," and it was just how the youth, my generation, I'll hope I die before I get old. All these themes. He found that this young society of these mods that they called themselves were trying to find a voice, and he was the voice, and he saw them as a patron. They'll buy the records. I just need to speak on their behalf. And one of the examples was he played the song "I Can't Explain," which is like, I got this feeling inside. I can't explain. It's a certain kind. I can't explain. And they loved it, and they wanted them to play it over and over one night. And it's like, we need you to explain that we can't explain. And they used him as a voice. But the subculture between the mods and the rockers, it was like gangs back then in London. And he wound up doing an album called Quadrophenia, which was all about the gang wars that would go on, and the rebellion, and just trying to find a voice, especially in a monarchy, in a society where there's a monarchy, and that this old generation was such a generation gap between the parents, who were almost ashamed of World War II. They're saying, we don't talk about the war. We don't talk about this stuff. And these kids that are like, what's going on? Will someone tell us something, anything? We deserve the truth. We deserve.
Punk rock kind of picks up where that left off.
Exactly.
Because you have alienated youth. That's basically what it is.
Who's saying that?
I mean, that's just the philosophy. It's just alienated youth.
Yeah.
People saying, what you made sucks, and we're going to yell about it.
For like
As opposed to the hippies
under 2 minutes.
yeah, under
Right.
2-3 minutes.
their message was a little more sedate. Might have been the drugs,
Right.
but their message was a little more sedate. Punk rock was literally standing on the stage and saying, "No, just fuck you."
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Pardon me.
Speaking of standing on the stage, would I be wrong in saying you've probably been to a fair share of punk shows over the years?
Hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah, I need to know, and I have so many questions because I'm in this weird place, like where I was Green Day, still like them, but then I spent the rest of my life up until now wondering, like, is what I'm listening to punk to someone like you?
Is it authentic?
Yeah, is it authentic punk or is it something else? And I'm okay. I don't want to hate on a band because they're not punk. I still like them, but I want to know what am I listening to, and is it?
As a listener, you feel you deserve the truth.
I deserve the truth.
I mean, my opinion is worth as much as anybody's. What Green Day and Blink are their commercialized versions of punk. They're
Are they more satirical, more parody?
Is it like main?
No, not at all. They're not even.
They're
that
genuine,
smart.
but just
But that's
Sorry,
the thing.
Sam, they're not even that smart. It's just derivative. and
Is it just because like the radio stations play them?
Yeah, they're.
You know what I mean?
Because they're hooky. They got commercials.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the
because
thing.
they've been so watered down. They're
Right.
safe to play.
Right.
And I mean, back in the day, for a punk band to get their records out, didn't they just like make their own punk records?
Yeah, nobody was buying. I mean, honestly, like the Misfits, who are huge now, they would make 500 records. They would press 500
They
records.
would press their own records.
Literally make and press their own records, and Glenn would sell them out of his trunk. And 500, and he could only sell 200.
Right.
You know, he'd have 300 in his closet because he couldn't even sell 500 friggin' records. That's how small the scene was. It's hard to imagine how small the scene was then.
So when did it blow up to where people actually wanted to sign these guys?
The mid 80s started to commercialize. I kind of dropped out for a while, like in the
but
late
that's
80s.
isn't that so anti-punk? Like the
prior to that, did CBGBs play a part in this?
Yeah, CBGB actually probably punk rock was probably birthed at CBGBs.
And then as punk rock, as they both go hand in hand with the success of CBGBs and punk rock, and they both grow and become more successful, then a lot of more contemporary artists start going. And not only do you have the Sex Pistols playing there, but you have Blondie.
Well, Blondie was never successful at CB's. I mean, CB's has only held 300 people, so I mean, it was never. CB's was never, you know.
But you have this new wave of, I guess it was just new wave with the Talking Heads and Blondie and all these other artists.
Yeah, New Wave was one of those things where if they couldn't classify it, they just called it New Wave back in the 80s. If they didn't have a label for it, it was New Wave.
Yeah, I got a little bag
got
inside
a
of my
baby
big bag.
paper bag.
You're damn right I do. Let me show this.
That's his notebook.
So I got
He comes
I got
with
my
notes
paper
on a brown
bag, my
paper
lunch
bag
bag
every week.
and this is the snack bag.
we buy him notepads, but he doesn't use them.
Look, it's summertime. I own a camp. These
He
things
uses brown
are
paper
there
bags
there is a plethora.
and wraps in toilet paper. This is Sam.
Can I?
He's all about the excess.
But yeah.
All right, dude, Mike. Can I throw out some bands to you, and you could, I don't know, either
Yay
say
or nay?
punk or not, or give me a rating. It's up to you.
I mean, this is just my opinion, which isn't worth shit, but go ahead.
It's worth something to me, honestly. Not to be cheesy, but it really does. Okay. And for another reason, it's like because I was always afraid. Like you didn't want to go in front of a punk guy, a real one, be like, "Did you hear Dookie?"
Oh, I mean, I would never do that. If a young kid came to me and was telling me how great My Chemical Romance was, I would like, yeah, you know, their first record was cool, but how about this?
Right.
All right.
You know, I would never say, you know,
Well, now
I would do
He
the
would never
same
be
thing.
like, you suck.
yeah,
Because
a little bracket.
the way you are with punk, I am with more classic rock, Beatles, Stones, stuff like that, where someone would come up. I was teaching a kid once, and he came up to me with the Radiohead album, and he started playing some songs. He's like, listen to this. I'm like, well, let me show you like Revolution Number 9 from the White Album, or let me show you this.
Beatles make me so angry.
Oh, we're about to have a war.
No, not at all.
Oh, dun dun dun.
why?
They've always been like nailed on a blackboard for me. I just hate them.
Just the sound, who they
No, it's-
are.
Dan's smiling.
Some people just don't get it, or some people just don't
So
want
you're
to.
saying he doesn't get it?
No, he just doesn't. It's
Fight,
not their
fight.
I'm
thing.
like poking it. No, I don't know.
You know,
I think they're the most overrated band in the history of the world.
You can't get
I will
into-
say they're not the most talented musicians.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at the three bands like the Who, Rolling Stones, and the Beatles, you know, the Beatles, the four of them would write songs and they would look to their producer to help them get things done, orchestrate things. The Rolling Stones at that time had Brian Jones, who was a phenomenal musician who would do stuff with horns and cellos and stuff. And the Who had John Entwistle, who would also play all these multi-instruments. And they did it themselves, where the Beatles had that little extra hand with George Martin, who was their producer.
But also, punk rock was actually a big rebellion
against
against that.
It-
Against that just overproduction and cellos. And they were just like, fuck the cellos. Let's
No.
we just want to scream.
exactly.
Yeah.
This is just going to be three-chord
At
rock,
what
it's
point-
fast.
Yeah, I
At
feel
what
like most
point-
of those original punk rockers barely knew how to play their instruments. Like Sid Vicious, I think he didn't know how to play his bass.
He could barely play, yeah.
Yeah,
although Steve
it
Jones
wasn't
played-
about.
But
Steve Jones played decently
But
enough.
I don't want to offend you, but what I've listened to,
If you offend this guy, I will be,
I don't want to. I
I
don't
will
want
be
to
impressed.
No, but what I've listened
You
to,
could
like,
shit on the floor. I wouldn't.
I promise I won't do that.
It's your house.
Today.
I know.
today. I haven't had enough martini yet. No, but I feel like they're not really singing.
No, they're not singing.
Right. They're just kind of yelling
Yeah, that's fine.
into a mic.
That's perfectly fine. That's what we want.
Okay.
They're punks,
Okay.
so it's just trouble. It's just. It's
But
just
is that music?
aggression.
Is the question.
It
Oh,
wasn't-
it
to
definitely
me.
is music.
Music is always subjective. I mean,
Yeah, I
if,
think
if
it's
you're a
music.
caveman banging a rock,
Right.
two rocks
But
together, it's
but
music.
but then you start thinking, did the punk rockers set out to make music, or did they just set out
To
to
be
give a
heard?
message?
They
Right.
set out to
Yeah.
do whatever they felt
Yeah,
like
they
doing at the
Right.
moment.
they just wanted to do whatever
I
they
think
wanted
they
to
didn't
do.
think that much into it.
This is what we're going to do.
Let-
And
Yeah.
honestly, again, if you go back to, if you listen to the Sonics or the Seeds, it doesn't spring out of the ground. They were doing that 10, 15, 20 years before. Punks were just doing it harder.
I also want to know, what is the difference between punk and alternative? Is there
Yeah, well,
is there
alter-
like a fine line?
Yeah,
or-
alternative is just
Alternative is
rock
kind of
and
a
roll in the
catch-all.
'90s. That was just
And it's usually much slower. It's usually
Yes,
much
yes.
wimpier.
Mm-hmm.
The speed is a big deal.
Yeah, they're talking about their feelings a
My
lot.
oldest daughter will
Which-
be very
which
sad
I-
to hear
well,
you
I
say
mean-
that.
No. Hold on, dude. I gotta disagree because punk. There is a lot about talking about feelings, but
Yeah,
it's not.
but not those
Yeah.
feelings.
No, not like I
Not
love my
those-
girlfriend who broke
not
up with
those
me.
feelings.
It's more like this world's effed up. We
Right.
got to make a difference.
Yeah, it's
and-
not. I'm feeling really depressed today, and I need to hug my cat.
Yeah.
At what point does a punk band become disrespected for succumbing to the corporate commercialized
It depends what
record deals?
decade we're talking. I mean, if it's 1983, is if you sold 500 records, you were a sellout. But but I mean, if you're talking about the late 80s, it's playing stadium shows.
Did you ever see the documentary? I love this show. I love doing the Nostalgia Cafe because the research is nothing but fun. I watched Alien last night. But you know what else I watched was a documentary called The Other F Word. Have you ever seen that?
No, I don't think so.
Gosh, you should see it, but the other F word, do you know what that other F word is?
No.
Father. And it is a documentary about these old school punk guys, not super old school, but we're talking like Pennywise and a few others who are now fathers, and they have tattoos, Rancid
on their
tattooed on their
head.
faces.
Yeah,
And they're going to the playground, you know, and
Yeah.
they have to tell their kids not to say bad words, but they're on stage that night,
Right.
you know,
Right.
giving the finger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there a question there for Mike? I don't know.
Have another martini, Sam.
Yeah, you think about that.
Beer
It's just
chaser.
Where did
The
the
beer chaser. Go ahead.
There was definitely a very important question there.
They're a sellout for having children. First of all, that's right.
yeah, that's it.
Is that what
Sold
took?
out.
Okay, I totally sold out, didn't I? 4 times. I sold out 4 times. Yeah. Worth it. I love you guys.
Yeah, give us your punk card. You lost it. You forfeit your punk rock card. Where did the voice come from? The that whining. It's not whining, but just the long drawn out British. My father said. I think Billy Joe Armstrong kind of like exaggerates
Really
it,
exaggerate
Yeah.
that.
but
British
but
sound.
it's
Which he has no business doing because where is he from? Wisconsin or something?
something like that. The Midwest.
Who does he think he's kidding?
was it a Johnny
Was it
Rotten
Madonna?
thing or was it a
Um,
you know what the sound I'm talking about
yeah,
that
I mean, Johnny Rotten kind of pioneered that. I
Johnny
think.
Rotten.
I mean, he
Sex
yeah,
Pistols.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anarchy in the UK. Dude, here, I have a very important question for you.
It is dripping.
You
Sam.
are very edgy. You are very edgy. You are very deep into the punk world. But in my opinion, you're a fucking great dude. Like, you're a really good dude. And then I look at someone like the Sex Pistols, who are almost like punk rock royalty. Those guys are assholes. Like, when I read about them, I'm like, God.
Sid,
Like,
I mean, Sid was an asshole. He was also a junkie, which kind of goes hand in hand. Johnny was kind of just a professional asshole. I mean, honestly,
Professional asshole?
Was or still is?
well, still is. I mean,
Yeah.
he kind of lost his, I don't know, he lost his street cred and his edge a little bit in the last 5 years or so.
With his Trump.
Yeah, that's why I always say all your heroes are dead because they don't live long enough to disappoint you. So Johnny finally disappointed me after all these years.
Yeah.
But it happens.
Yeah, but I look at a dude like you and I think like this is the punk rock that I like. The one who's not going to put up with shit. I got some I have some dialogue from him.
But
from
Johnny
the
was
past.
never a bad guy, though. Honestly, I mean, he never took any shit, but he was never a bad guy.
If you see the early interviews with Johnny Rotten, he plays with the press.
Yeah, and
He
he
just-
will suffer no disrespect. He will put you in your place.
Yeah, and that's the essence of punk right there. You know, the establishment is pulling you aside, saying, "Hey, you have a few minutes to talk to me," and they're just ready to destroy him.
He has no respect,
And he's
he has no
he's
respect
waiting
your
for it,
position.
and he's going to let you know that he's got no respect. You know,
But is
he doesn't
still-
have respect for you because you're not worthy of
But
respect.
if he was in this room, would he be hanging? Would he be cool?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he'd want to be left alone. I think he'd be in the corner.
Listen, this is Mike Spagnola. Can I tell you some dialogue of Mike Spagnola with his
This
customers?
is going to be embarrassing. Isn't
We
it?
might need to.
You posted it.
We might
know.
need to get you for our social media because we have some people too.
Yeah, some bad mouthers. We need you. So, douche lady in the store for 3 minutes complaining about everything the entire time. Of course, she needs to stop at the counter. Here comes Mike. Or no, here comes the douche lady. He wrote DL for douche lady.
Douche.
How can you stand the noise in here? Mike Spagnola. It's not too bad. I can't hear most of the people bitching over the music. Douchey kid. Who would actually wear this crap? He has some really cool clothes in there, by the way. Who would actually wear this crap? Mike Spagnola. Filthy degenerates, of course. Your mom. And then he puts as a subtext, now I realize that wasn't clever, but it was satisfying.
I love to tell off children. It's a hobby.
I got a couple more.
I bested a 12-year-old. I was happy with myself that day.
I always like it when you find someone that you like, too. That happens every now and then. Very rarely. But, okay. So, no, not that one. Ooh, God. I can't say that on here.
No.
Oh, wow. I'm intrigued. What did I
Were
say?
you in Facebook jail for that one?
Oh, here's a nice one. The very nice lady at Wawa. What does your mask say? Me, no gods, no master. The Wawa lady says, oh, Michael, you're very scary, but I love you. Last one. Weird douche. Let me tell you, this happens to Mike all the time. Weird douche. After complaining through the entire store, I don't suppose you could play Crazy Train, could you? Me? Mike Spagnola? Absolutely fucking not. Same weird douche with a snark. This is not what I expected to walk into. Mike Spagnola, you're not who I expected to walk in. This is just because when you go into a store, I mean, I'm telling you.
Well, you're not going into the store. You're going into historic Smithville, a reproduction of colonial Smithville. And then there's this store
Yes.
of horror and punk.
Yes. No apologies given.
No.
Yeah. And then the music is blasting. In fact, Mike, I got to thank you. I couldn't believe it. For my family, for my dad, my children. He hates children.
I was just gonna say.
They were very nice, by the way.
Thank you. Oh, man. They have to hear this episode now.
No, they don't.
Yeah, just that one part. Just that one part.
So, right here. This is what you can listen to. That's it.
It was great. I had to walk out. I was nervous. I was like, my mom is talking to Mike Spagnola. My mom is talking
no.
to Mike Spagnola.
Were you
She's gonna
afraid?
talk about him on
little bit.
Facebook.
I wasn't going to rip into your mom
Dude,
and dad.
well, I appreciate that, but I didn't know. And they walk out, and my kids are like, look at all these stickers he gave us. And then my mom is like,
Did I give him stickers?
You totally did.
I must have been drunk.
You gave him a lot. And my folks thought you were a very nice person.
They were very nice. They were all very nice.
Yay.
That was a large crowd of people.
Yeah, I know a lot of people.
It's a big family.
Yeah. So I made a list. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all.
I need to know, dude. Punk or not? And if you feel like giving me a rating 1 through 10, or even going to the negatives, that's up to you.
Okay.
Here we go. You've never seen this. Now I know that, so I won't say SLC Punk, but I really think you should watch it.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, I love it. The original, you mean?
Toby Hooper.
Yeah, Toby Hooper's amazing. That's great.
Have you seen the remastered version of the film?
No.
Ooh.
Yeah, the high end, high quality version of
Love
the film.
to
It
see
looks
that.
beautiful. The
It used
print
to be
is just
super
gorgeous.
grainy and
Yeah,
grungy.
it adds to that though.
Maybe
There's still
scared
that
the shit
grain.
out of me.
My son is such a Gunnar Hansen fan. In fact, when Paul Partain died, he was the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, right.
He actually died, and if you Google Paul Partain and my son, there's a little like blog that comes up with the both of them in it. Like he's saying,
Really?
I miss you, Paul.
That's crazy. I would check that out. In
He's
fact, I like
big Texas Chainsaw fan.
personally. I even like Texas Chainsaw Part 2 even better.
Oh, with Bill Moseley. Oh yeah.
With the hanger.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, so a couple more. Here we go. Elvis, punk or not?
I mean, I guess if you want to go all the way back to the beginning, punk-ish. I mean,
Punk-ish?
he shook things up, but then he turned into a joke.
Is Devo punk?
Yeah, they were when they started. Yeah. I mean, they were definitely, they had like a weird nerdy niche.
Whip.
But yeah, I mean, they weren't punk by that point. But I mean, when they first started, they were really weird.
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
I mean, also when punk started, it was kind of like more wide open. And they kind of were part of that big wide open part.
Okay. The Joker.
I mean, like the comic book Joker? I am not a comic book fan. I am comic book illiterate.
Oh.
I have never read a superhero comic book in my life.
Not even Watchmen. I thought you'd like Watchmen.
Never saw it.
Wow.
No. For some reason, comic books just don't do it for me.
Okay. Fanny packs.
The fact that you have to say fanny just ruins the whole thing for me.
Damn it.
If it was like an ass bag, I'd be like, okay, that's cool.
I mean, you could swing it around.
yes.
and make
Yes.
it an
All
ass
right.
bag.
Punk.
It's my crotch sack.
Lame. Punk. Lame. All right. It's all about positioning.
But fanny pack, there's nothing punk
I don't
rock
think
about.
they would sell as many
I'm
if they
really-
called it a crotch sack.
I would buy one.
I would. There's a genre. There is
Maybe
a.
you should market that in the punk store.
Yes. A concept. Yo, he's gonna be rich.
Yes, he is.
And it's gonna be because of us.
Yes.
All right. Yo, I'm looking forward to this one. Punk or not, or give me a rating. Donald Trump.
Well, definitely not punk. I don't know what it is, but it's not punk.
Punk.
Okay. You don't even know what it is. Okay, a couple bands to throw at you. Dropkick Murphys.
Never a fan.
No FX.
As soon as I see an accordion, I check the fuck.
You don't like the bagpipes
Oh
either?
no.
Kind of weird. Like I saw that in one
She
of
was
the
doing her
videos.
research.
And I'm like, they have an accordion. Like
They
I
gotta-
would never
forget
associate.
the accordion.
My mom used to play the accordion. I swear.
You know what? I tried the accordion. It's really hard.
hard. My
It's
mom used to play.
I mean, I consider myself fairly musical. I cannot play
Yeah.
an accordion for save my life.
But the bagpipes, or whatever. No FX.
But they're okay. I mean, they're kind of a joke too, but they had their minute.
Bad Religion.
Again, they had their minute.
Oh.
Early 80s, they were fantastic. And now, you get old, you get stupid.
Oh, you're
I
breaking
got
my
old.
heart.
I got old. I got stupid.
I was gonna say.
It happens to
No.
it happens to us all. I'm
Or
not,
wise. I don't know. Some people grow and be wise. No.
I had missed my target.
All right. Clockwork Orange.
Ah, my favorite movie ever.
Super Punk.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Trauma movies.
I like them. I don't know about punk. I mean, they try to be. They try too hard to be irreverent, but they're fun.
Okay. I'm really curious about this one. Rancid.
I actually like Ring. I mean, I don't like them now. Now they're kind of stupid looking, but I mean, they had their minute.
Stupid looking.
All right.
They had their
Stupid
moment.
looking.
Look.
Tim looks weird these days. He's got the bald head and the big beard. He just looks like.
What is wrong with bald head and beard?
Well, I mean,
What is wrong?
Does he have like that big long
big beard.
Oh, he
Yeah.
does have a
Like,
big
He looks
one,
like
right?
like a nutsack.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Dude, I got one more for you, and this, I don't think you're going to have to think too hard about this. Is this punk or not? The Nostalgia Cafe.
Oh, so punk rock.
Yeah!
I'll be the first one to say
tell you what.
we are as bubblegum as,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
bubblicious.
I'm impressed by the martinis on the table. I'm
See?
impressed.
Yeah,
That's all
I'm going to
me.
go with Mike Spagnola's assessment, not yours,
The
Dan.
martinis are all me.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I can't-
I am double fisting a martini and a
beer.
Paps.
There's
so
punk rock.
that is
What
pretty
could go
bomb.
wrong?
Put your pinky up on the martini
what
side.
could go wrong? And he eats. See, I won't eat my olives
What?
while I'll eat them after. I won't subject people to me eating olives while we're filming and yeah, I'd be like,
I'm sure you've heard me gulping 18
Yeah.
times during this.
we had that review and now I worry about the noises and
Yeah, I know. We had a podcast review by some
I
dude.
actually refused. I don't want to know about it.
oh.
I don't want to see the
Okay.
comments. I don't want to see the reviews.
Did that one hurt your
Actually,
heart?
No, I just don't
overall,
wanna-
It was very good.
I don't want it to persuade me or
I'm
Right.
glad you said that because I
Yeah.
was afraid when I would come back here things would be a little different. I'm
Yeah.
glad they're not.
I
No,
know.
I
I
think-
actually really enjoy when people hate Underground.
He
It makes
didn't-
me feel all warm
the
and
thing
fuzzy
is,
inside.
He didn't hate it. It was overall a very good review. He was giving suggestions. So you have to it's constructive criticism, I guess.
It was constructive.
But some of it wasn't even like he was like, oh, you guys should get a Roadcaster. Well, that's what we use. So
Oh, no, Roadcaster.
he picked the
sir.
wrong
Right.
shows.
He
He
just-
picked
Yes, and he did pick some of the shows. Like we had someone call in from a regular rotary phone.
Kincaid
Yes.
from Nightmare on Elm Street
Yes.
3.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah.
he had a rotary. So the sound quality was not what it would be. So he thought we were literally doing this and
okay.
holding up the. You
No,
know.
I think for me was
that's
I
great,
know the
but-
flaws
Yeah.
and he exposed them.
You don't
Yeah.
need him to remind you.
Right. Or
It
talk
hurts-
as if
it
we're
hurts
amateurs.
Dan-
Honestly,
it hurts
it's-
Dan's
it's-
Because it
feelings.
frustrates me already
Yeah.
because of these flaws.
But
'Cause
to
I
go
won't
back
let
to
him
punk
put
rock,
up-
Isn't it more about that's my chain just hit the chair? Isn't it more about
He's got chains.
He's got chains.
isn't it more about content
That's what
than,
she said.
than if there's a
Yes.
sound?
Thank
Exactly.
you, dude.
Exactly.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy, and I am digging this content. I'm digging our guests.
What
and
other
you guys.
movies do you think would you consider punk?
David Lynch movies like Eraserhead,
Okay.
Blue Velvet, got some punk rock to it, for sure. Eraserhead's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Of
I've
all
never
time.
seen that.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's crazy.
Dan's
I
going
think
to write that
that
down because he's
is-
going to watch it tomorrow.
I'm going to watch it
I think
tonight.
it's on TCM, maybe HBO Max right now.
That's a horror movie, right?
And it's whatever the hell it is. I don't know what it is. It's beyond classification. It's just weird.
Do you have to be high to watch it?
No, I don't get high.
Okay.
THC is not my friend.
I heard you were eating edibles. For
I
a while.
tried that, but that's why that's how I
Sam,
discovered
really?
that THC was not my friend. Oh, sorry. Is that not okay?
No, it's
No, it's
okay.
totally
It's just,
okay.
he didn't have to air your dirty
No,
laundry.
it's not doing it.
No, we're talking to Mike Spagnola.
I'm a filthy drunk. It doesn't matter.
They call him Trash Daddy.
Yes,
He is Trash Daddy.
He wants nothing to do with children.
exactly. Not daddy in that context at all.
Okay, all right. Oh no.
I'm gonna watch
What was
that.
what was the first movie that blew your mind?
Oh, ooh, wow. I don't know. Probably when I was like 8 years old, House on Haunted Hill. I think that's when I knew I was like, I was a horror geek.
Yeah, it's a good one.
8, huh?
Yeah. Scared the shit out of me.
Uh,
Which is
creepy.
ridiculous because it's not a scary movie, but I was 8.
But you
so
were 8,
You got to cut
right.
me a break.
Yeah.
See, I was more into like the making aspect of the things. I used to walk around in school with the Fangoria magazines.
Oh, I was geek for Fangoria. Yeah.
Loved it.
Famous Monsters too.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I'm such a nerd. I still do. I collect horror movie magazines because I'm a nerd.
the first step is admitting it.
Yeah.
It's a 12-step program.
That's all right.
He's going to be a nerd by the end of the 12th step. No doubt.
I'll still be a nerd in 12 steps.
Well,
But you'll be a friend of the Nostalgia Cafe.
best friend.
Say.
Definitely. Maybe we could do a nostalgia cafe.
And if we
something
come
in
to your shop,
Smithville.
you're not going to call me a douche lady, right?
He might call you a Karen. I
Might call you
I am
Karen.
a Karen, but I am not a Karen.
You're not a Karen.
No, I get a bad rap for my name. It's awful. I get every meme that comes across gets sent to
Karens
me.
are suitably offended by the term Karen.
Yeah.
I'm not a Karen.
No, you're not.
I don't have the haircut.
No.
I don't want to speak to your manager.
Yeah.
It's all
Related
good.
to Nostalgia Cafe, I also collect toys.
Oh.
That's what a geek I am.
What kind of toys are we talking?
Monster toys, sci-fi toys.
Like old Godzilla?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or the replica things like the McFarlane kind of.
I'm not really into McFarlane so much, but I mean, a lot of like 60s, 70s, like advertising weird toys.
Okay.
If you ever get a chance to go to New York City, Toy Tokyo. If you ever go to Toy Tokyo, you will see wall to wall with things that will interest you. 100%.
I actually made a living selling collectible toys for 15, 20 years.
Whoa.
Wow.
What would be the most sought after collectible toy?
Actually, that Kenner Alien is a hot one. It's a big one. It's like 18 inches tall. Mm-hmm. And it's probably in a box, goes for big bucks these days. That's kind of a holy grail.
The more you know.
I love toys.
You learn something new
I love
every day.
toys. Do you want to take us to the finale, Miss Karen, with your
boy.
stuff already?
I'm gonna
there?
repeat
We'd
everything
like to
that you
thank
said.
Mike Spagnola for
Thanks
coming.
for having me.
Thank
Drove
you.
all the way to the Nostalgia Cafe.
With his
The
pets.
man. The man.
He has a big ass cooler here. Okay. So this is my closing.
Read.
This is going to be so amazing.
New Jersey's biggest 80s event is happening on July 31st because Dan already told you this in the beginning, but he wants me to repeat it.
I got 30 seconds,
And if
Karen.
you
Come
haven't
on.
purchased your tickets, what are you waiting for?
Just read
Get your
it.
tickets now for the 80s extravaganza. Go to our website for all the details. You do not want to miss out on this one. Please like, follow, and subscribe.
Just like
Don't
my shirt
forget,
says.
Tell your friends about us here at the Nostalgia Cafe.
Ow!
Find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and our official website. The official nostalgiacafe.com.
That's
Are you happy?
it. That's it for now. For Sam Seitels and the beautiful Karen Lynn, I am Dan Morrow. I'd like to thank Mr. Mike Spagnola for coming to the Nostalgia Cafe. We look forward to serving you next time. Where?
Anarchy in the Nostalgia Cafe.
Oh, we're animals here.